It's a full day. Let's get an update here before I've got to go home. It's probably a one taker from the shop, guys. It's just through the roof insane. So started off today, took the wheels off this Sterling 02. This is getting new used struts. 55,000 mile struts are going in. We're reusing the springs. We're going to replace the pads and some of the mounts, but not everything. So the front ones, you've got to disconnect the stabilizer links from the sway bar, undo the wiring so it doesn't get ripped out there, take the tie rod out of the steering knuckle, so that's out. Then you've got only, your 3 nuts up here. That's no big deal. And then you swing the whole thing down, very carefully clear your wheel arch here, pull it out, and lift it up. So once I refamiliarize myself with this process, it's been years since I removed those, the fronts aren't actually too bad. You do have to take the brake rotor or the brake caliper and caliper carrier off and stick that on the control arms and hang. And then I didn't want to leave the weight on the ball joint, so we've got a bungee cord holding the weight of that. Same thing over here on the passenger side. I then thought, stupidly, that the rears would be a little bit easier, and that is not at all the case. Of course, I know that you have to disassemble a lot of the interior to access them, and we did that. So the rear bottom seat is out. This is a non-split fold car, which makes it worse. The rear back seat is out. The partial shelf is out. We broke a speaker grill, so we'll have to replace that. I left the seat belts mostly in, so I can't take this fully out of the car. The rear partial shelf comes out, and then your top mounts are down in there. Then it really sucks here in the back because on the passenger side, we've got to undo the fuel, like the actual fuel filler, and let that hang here, and undo that hose that takes it down into the fuel tank. So that's all open. And that means you just have an empty hole there. The fender liner has to come out, and then you've actually got to disconnect the rear sway bar. We didn't know that initially, so that's disconnected. And then you put a jack in between the H-arm and the chassis and lower this assembly down about 5 inches, and then with a millimeter to spare, you can flip the shock out like that. So that one's out. Over here, a little bit worse yet. Fender liner, same thing with the jack. You can see that's still in there. But it's the charcoal canister and the evap, whatever crap is in here, all of that has to come out, and then you have a fraction of a millimeter to sneak the strut out. Then I have strut compression tools or compressing tools over here that kind of work, but they keep sliding together. So right when I get the spring under tension, I have one, if you're looking at the top of the assembly, I have one at 9 o'clock and one at 3 o'clock, and then they slide together, and that's not safe. So we've actually sublet that now until we can get some better tooling. But I estimated 5 hours. We have 5 hours in disassembly, so we're looking at about 12 hours. Next time we'll be able to do it in 9, but the price is definitely going up, and that puts me in a pickle because this gentleman here, we're about to put Dynon springs on this car, and the labor rate I quoted him is not accurate. So I'm not sure how we're going to react to that yet, but we'll figure that out. And then I'm not going to be that far behind either. I last did my suspension in 2011, about 60-some thousand miles ago. It's all stock. The front springs are original, but we did all the hardware and bearings and mounts and stuff in there and pads. And then the rears, we did springs and struts. Could go the Dynon route. I don't know. I don't want to make it ride like a covered wagon, and I really don't want to lower it. So I'm at least a year away on that probably. But that was the majority of today. The 7 Series PPI is done. I presented that to her. Or MPI is done, so I presented that to her, and she told us what she wants to proceed with. So I've ordered parts for that. She wants to see about getting the stock wheels back. Originally, it had all 4 of these 24 or 22-inch wheels. Then they went back to the factory style 95s up front, but forgot center caps. So now she wants the factory 95s in the back, but they're a 10-inch width, which I think would be like a 285 tire. So maybe a 295 tire. But they're like $600 new. I can't really find any good used ones right now. The trunk button was not working, and it's a whole thing. I couldn't figure out why. Like, I checked all the fuses and all of that stuff. It functions now. I just Googled it to see if there's something obvious that I'm missing, and there was. In the glove box is the valet lock switch that you can lock that out. So I flipped the switch and now it works again. So I came clean, told her that, and we're not charging her for it. So back in business. And surprisingly, all of the cool stuff on this car, like the trunk, the soft closed doors, the rear sunshades, they're all power, and the main rear sunshade, all of that still works. The thing that doesn't work are the door brakes are hydraulic struts, and you really have to hold the door open where you want it And even then, yeah, now it stays. So that needs some work. And then I guess kids just kicked the shit out of the seat there. But all these sunshades, I don't think it'll work without the key. It will not. But these are power and those are power. They all work really well. I'm kind of surprised. And this. How cool is that? 97,000 miles, 18 years old. Works great. So that's what's happening at the shop right now. The next conversion is this. We have not yet had time to dig into it. We want to put this car over there, but that one needs to get done. So we need to finish the springs and shocks, hopefully tomorrow. And then I think, is today Thursday? Tomorrow we're doing motor mounts on a, I don't even know what day it is. We're doing motor mounts on a F10 528 tomorrow. So just slammed here. This is as crazy as we've ever been, and it's impossible to find any help that I would trust to hire in here.